Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. Today I wanted to give you guys a rundown of my hair color story from about 2015 up until the color I have now. I know there have been questions of like, how did I start, how did I get this color, you really like this color but you don't know how to get it and replicate it. All I have to say is it's been a while coming. It just wasn't overnight that this color came, but I'm just gonna kind of talk through, where I started and how I ended up here. So in the beginning, in my natural hair days, my loose natural hair days, I have kind of like a really dark brown hair color, but it's not black, but it's like pretty like dark that you only really see the hints of brown like in the sun, right? So I used to dye my hair like black around like maybe twice a year or something like that. And here's kind of a picture of what the girl used to look like. This is a TBT girl. So this is a picture of what the black used to kind of look like, and I mean it was fine, it was no problem. So the first time I dyed my hair like with colors was I think I bought some, I was trying to give myself highlights, so I bought this random dye from like Target, this blonde one, and I just took like pieces like on the side here, like literally 4 pieces, and I was like, I'm gonna do the little highlighting thing. And I put that on, and that was it. So I basically only like dyed like 4 pieces or 6 pieces like on the perimeter, so that when I like pulled my hair back you could just kind of see that. Yeah, that didn't really last for very long. So that was kind of the first dab in coloring that I did. But then the first full one where I actually did like majority of my head was with Silk Elements. In Sally's, you have Silk Elements, and there's a color called Honey Blonde. And so I used this honey blonde color, and that was like my first full like dyeing process, but I only processed like half my head. So basically I went like this and I left the back, and I only did like this whole like crown part basically is like what I dyed, and that was great. So that gave me kind of like a light brown, or brown, just say brown. It gave me a brown color. And so I really liked the way that turned out. But in the beginning, actually, when I first dyed it, I was convinced that my hair looked orange. So I was like, oh my god, I have to correct this color, and my hair looks so orange, but it actually looks really cute. Like when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that was a good coloring job, but I was convinced that my hair looked orange. So I decided to then get this like L'Oreal High Lift something that was in Auburn, and like light blonde or like honey blonde or something like that, and I mixed that all together. Then I put that on, but then my hair ended up having this like reddish copper color. So I really should have just stuck with the Silk Elements, because that's what I wanted. I wanted like a light brown or like a brown color, and it gave me that. But because it was so different from the black, I was convinced that no, this is not brown, this is like orange or something. So then I like added it like a week later. I added this L'Oreal High Lift for darks, and I put that on, and that turned it to be more reddish brown-ish. But it was still fine. So I rocked that for like a while, and once again, like that was just like the crown of my head is what I did, not the back. So the back was still always just like black. After I did that L'Oreal highlights, like 3 months later or like 4 months later, I would dye it again with the honey blonde from the Silk Elements. And Silk Elements honey blonde was basically like my to-go color for like a good 2.5 years, and every 4 months or twice a year is when I was kind of like coloring the hair to get it a little bit more vibrant. And then so when I installed my braid locks in May 2016, I still had that honey blonde. So that's how you can kind of see like my roots were already growing out, and I hadn't colored it in a really long time, but you can still see the tips. They had like that brown color and that light brown color, and it just kind of added like a little bit of a highlight effect, because I had like my dark brown, and I had like the hints of the light brown, and like the braid locks, at the ends they curled up. So it was super cute and super beautiful, and I really like that look. And so you can see from my first video on here in March 2017, I still had that honey blonde color going on, and you can see like the hair just has like a brownish tint to it at the tips of it. And I never really colored my hair from the roots, like the whole thing. I always kind of started like halfway through the shaft, because I don't know, I was like very scared of like the full color look. I always wanted like my roots to be like my natural hair color, and then I wanted like the ends to like kind of gradually fade into that ombre effect, but obviously I don't care about that anymore. But back in the day, in the beginning, I was like, no, I can't do my whole hair from like my roots to tip. I have to have like a coloring buffer of my natural hair color, and then the regular and then the artificial dye. And then in August of 2017, I was feeling, I was like, let me see what I can do here. So then I decided to go red, and that was around like the same time or maybe before when all this cream of nature transformations were going on. You know how they would take those natural hair loose natural hair girls, and they would like color their hair for them, and it would be like from this to this and da and like the color was so vibrant, and I was like, ooh, I need some of this in my life, right? So then I went and got the cream of nature red dye. I think it was the 7.6 color, and I dyed my hair red. And the red, I think it actually took my hair a little darker than what I had before. The red was cute, it looked good, but it did not last at all, because I actually thought I was gonna be like a redhead for a while, but that had to go like very quickly because it was not it. After the first wash, I think I was more of like an urban brown like an auburn brown than a redhead. And after the second wash, it was just like a dark brown with a hint of red in the sun. And by the fourth wash, which is like basically by the end of August, end of the month, it wasn't, there was no red in that. It was just like you really have to come super close for you to even see the tint of red. And it was basically like I had like a dark brown auburn kind of color. And so I was like, okay, at least I know now that we're not gonna do this red again, because the maintenance was just too much. It's either you're not gonna wash your hair as often. Now, at that point until now, I still wash my hair once a week, so I can't be having my color just fade and fade and fade. I would have to re-dye my hair or like do semi-permanent color basically every month, and that's just like too much effort. Even though it's simple, it's just, you mix it together and you slap it on and like you're done. But still, to have to do that kind of every month just to keep the color vibrant, for me was just like too much. So I was a redhead for exactly 4 weeks from the beginning of August to the end of August, and that was that. And so I started this blonde journey from September. So basically in September 2017, I was moving to Paris, and so I was like, I don't know why I decided to wait till the last minute. Okay, so guys, my plane was leaving at 9 p.m. and I was dyeing my hair blonde at like 12 p.m. I don't know who thought that. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I was like, this is a good idea, I'm gonna do this. And what happened was, basically I didn't want to start with the weird brown red color that I had going on. It was just looking, it was fine, but I was like, I'm not trying to arrive up in here looking like this. Like, I want my fresh color, I want a new chapter, new story, right? So then I just went to Target and got like the most platinum dye I could find in the selection. And the name of the color, let me just check it here, is the L'Oreal Paris Feria Absolute Platinum Advanced Lightening System with Anti-Brush Conditioner. Ooh, child. So I bought 2 or 3 of this, and I was expecting it to just be kind of like, a regular box dye where you just put the color in, shake it up together, and like, put it on, kind of like the Silk Elements Honey Blonde. And then when I got home, this thing was like a full-on like bleach kit. Like there's like a packet of bleach, and there was a developer, then you have to mix it together and put the color, and I was like, oh damn, like I didn't know that this was gonna be like a bleaching process, but I didn't have the time to be like, oh, let me go back to the store and buy something else. And I was like, what if I pick something else, and then I open the box when I get home and it's also a bleach kit? So I was like, I picked the platinum because just like I picked the honey blonde, my hair was not honey blonde, right? My hair was like just a brown color. So I was thinking that when I picked this platinum color, that it would just be a regular box dye and it would just give me a lighter brown than what I had before, but not like a full-on blonde color, right? Girl, little did I know. So then I started dyeing my hair, and I was dyeing it. So now it's like, I read all the things online where you're not supposed to, start from the roots first. You're supposed to do the hair shaft first and then wait and then come back and process. But I was just so petrified and scared about using bleach, because I've never used bleach before, and I never prepared myself to use bleach. I was preparing myself for a box dye, a simple box dye I can just mix together, throw on, put a cap, and just be done with it, But now I'm like abruptly confined to have to use bleach. So I'm like, okay, I don't want my hair to fall out before I get on this plane, so let me just figure out a way to, like, get this all going smoothly. So I did what I typically do, and I basically only colored half my hair. So let's say like my hair was here, I basically started like from here onwards. Like, so I had a good chunk of like this hair that did not touch the bleach in the beginning. So I put that on, and I left that on for like 10 minutes, and I put it kind of on the rest, but I never came to the scalp. Like, I still kind of had like space there. And then I left, so I basically left it on for a total of like 20 minutes, and I just rinsed it off. I didn't even put a cap over it. I didn't want it to over process. I was just like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I just don't want my hair to just look crazy. And so I did that, and it actually wasn't bad. But that was the first like blonde, real blonde, you can actually call the hair blonde, that I had. And of course, like the closer to the scalp I was, like, were a little bit more orange, because I only did it once, and I used whatever toner that it came with in the box, but like I don't really think that did that much. You know, this was before I even knew about all the Wella stuff, and like, you know, I just wasn't prepared that this was gonna be a bleach, because if I was, I would have at least picked a Wella to help me, like, you know, kind of combat the oranginess and all that stuff. But I didn't know, so I did it, and it actually ended up looking pretty okay. Like, it wasn't bad. So then I got on my plane, I was like, okay, I'm good. So now we in Paris, okay, but you know, there is no Sally Beauty up in here, and that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to do the coloring in the US before I went, because I knew if anything, you know, went wrong, at least I could fix it, like going to Sally's and finding something and just like, you know, doing it there. But I don't know how they do that up in there, you know. I did all this French and all these things, and I'm just like, Lord, I need time, I need buffering time to figure out, you know, all the beauty salon stuff and how they do it over there, right? And you know, I figured it out, you know, but just coming in, I had to, you know, just have myself already prepared. That's why I brought all my extra products. I brought my extra makeup so that I can have, you know, a good 2 to 3 months to figure out, okay, where the black salons at, where black hair shops at, where all these things at, before, you know, I just come looking raggedy, right? So so that I had that color for a couple months, and then when did I change it? So I had it for September, October, November, December, and then in January, then my roots were growing out. So then I just went to like Monoprix. So Monoprix there is kind of like a Target, and they just have everything, right? So I just went there. So I hadn't figured out, like, I hadn't figured out the black shit yet. I hadn't figured it out yet. So I went to the Monoprix, and I just bought whatever light blonde hair color there was, and this time around it was the Garnier Belle Color 111 extra light ash blonde. So I bought this one, and I used it just on my roots. I didn't put it on the rest of the hair. I think I didn't put it on the rest of the hair, and that actually came out fine. So I did a video, like, I'm gonna insert some clips here, but that came out fine, and that helped kind of the roots kind of blend in with the color, and it was looking good. But the problem with these box styles that I've noticed is that the first, you know, 2 weeks, like, the color looks good, but as it fades out, it leaves an orange tint that just doesn't look very good. And so the orange tint started to come after like the first month, and by the second month, third month, like, the orange tint was pretty there. So you would have like my new growth, and then you would have that weird transitionary orange tint, and then the rest of the hair color was fine. So it was fine, and you know, it worked, but I was still kind of like trying to find, like, you know, my real hair color of like this blonde that I wanted. In April of 2018, then I also decided that I was just going to I don't know if I thought that there was a bleach in this box dye, or if I didn't know. I really don't know. But I went again to Monoprix, and I bought a box dye that was a L'Oreal, let's see, it's called L'Oreal Colorista in Platinum Blonde. And I also bought a toner that's called Desange California Purple Blonde Toner. So I bought all those in Monoprix also, and turns out that the thing in there was also bleach, right? So instead of it being just a regular box dye like the Garnier one was, this was also like the original one that I had used before coming, and that one was a bleached box dye type of thing. So there was a sachet, and then there was the developer, and you have to mix it together and then like apply it. So I applied that, and that actually got me pretty light. So that I also made a video using that, and that I had some splotchiness and stuff, but once again, y'all, I was not prepared for this to be a bleach box dye. So I think I was just too nervous, and I was just trying to get everything done and just finished and not mess up my hair. And I think this is kind of the lesson learned is, you know, if you're not in the mindset to bleach your hair, and you get something that is a bleaching like a bleaching dye, just don't use it. You know, it's better when you're prepared that, okay, I'm going to bleach my hair. You go out, you buy your bleach, and then you do your process. Then I just want to do like a light brown color, so I'm just going to pick, you know, a platinum color because I know my hair is dark, so the platinum is going to end up being like a light brown on me, which is what I've been doing. And then you get home and then you realize, oh, it's actually a bleaching product. So then you're just like, okay, it says to leave it on for 40 minutes, but I'm gonna do 20 because I don't want to da-da-da-da, and it's just, girl, just learn from me, okay? Just learn from me. So then I did that with the L'Oreal Color Vista color with the platinum, and it wasn't bad. It actually left me with a lot of like ash blonde tips, and the hair, from the shaft onwards, it looked really good, but the roots had a very deep like orange tinge to it, which makes sense because it's the first time bleaching like those roots, right? And so you always need like 2 bleaches to get it there. But the biggest thing is that the toner didn't really help that much. So then I came back to the States in April of 2018, so I went to Sally's. I stocked up, okay? I had watched all the YouTube videos there was to watch, and I decided to stock up on hair dye. So I basically bought a whole bunch of the Ion High Lift Ash Blonde in B12.1. I think I went like 1 more up and 1 more down, so I bought like 3 levels of those blondes. But you know, in Sally's they always do like buy 3 get 1 free, or buy 2 get 1 free, or something like that. So I bought like 9 packs of these dyes because I was like, I'm gonna take it back with me, and that's what I'm gonna use to just like dye my hair like forever, basically. So I basically used that in June of 2018 to tone the roots, and so that helped me to kind of get the roots to be more of a blonde, like a vibrant honey blonde, golden blonde, than the orange blonde that I had. And so at that point, then everything was fine. Now I had like my roots were good, and like the rest of the shaft was good, and now we're in the blonde phase. And then in August of 2018, well, in August of 2018, so at this point it's June, July, and we're in August, right? And like these blonde hair colors, they typically last about 2 months before you start to see that orange tintiness coming out, like the blonde box dyes. And so I didn't want to dye the whole hair again because at this point like my roots have grown, but they had like that ombre effect, and I was like, this is not, I mean, I'm fine with this, right? This is okay. All I wanted to do was kind of just give the, like, revitalize the color a little bit by just toning it, right? But I didn't have a Sally's, I didn't have all of that. I only had like the dyes, the ion dyes that I bought, and for that you have to use developer. But I didn't want to color the whole hair again because the color was fine. I just wanted to just tone it a little bit. So I decided to go and get me the Adore Platinum Semi-Permanent Hair Dye. And well, I think we all saw what happened in that situation. And your girl ended up with some green hair, and we're just not going to do that again. We've learned our lesson, and we're not going to touch any Adore products. We're just not going to do it because, yeah, it's just, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So now we're in August of 2018, and I have green hair, and it looks horrible. But I'm like, okay, no problem. I mean, it wasn't like a big deal, right? So then in September of 2018, so now I still had, you know, those ion dyes that I bought previously in Sally's. I still had those left over, so I just decided to mix that up together because by September I had substantial like new growth, and I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable like dyeing my whole head of hair like this color, and it worked. So I used the same thing, the Ion High Lift Ash Blonde in B12.1. I think 1 on top, 1 like over, and 1 level below. I mixed them all together with, I think, a 30 volume Ion Sensitive Scalp Developer, and I dyed my whole head that color, and like everything came back to blonde also, and it was fine. I had like lowlights and highlights and all that stuff, and like the color was really good, and I really liked it. Thing is, like I said previously, so these ion dyes are great. They're great for toning, and they're great for actually just giving you color itself. But I think for me, like what always happens with these blonde dyes is that as you wash your hair every week, right, the tone just kind of, it fades a little bit. Like the blonde is still there, your hair definitely has lifted, right, but the tone just kind of fades away, and I just didn't know how to keep that tone for longer, instead of having this like orangey kind of like banding that kind of goes on in the roots, because that's what typically happens. It's like after like, you know, a month or two, you start to see like where your new growth is, and then that orange thing, it just stays there, and then like the rest of the hair is kind of okay-ish, or it has a weird tint to it. So I just was tired of that, So I decided to, like, this time around, I'm going to bleach my hair for real, for real. I'm gonna do the bleach, I'm gonna do the wella, and that's how we're gonna do this, okay? But I was prepared this time around to do this bleaching. So in December of 2018, I was like, I'm gonna split my hair in half. I'm gonna do just one side, apply it in 5 minutes, wash it out, do the other side, apply it in 5 minutes, and actually properly color this hair for once, for real, for real, for real. Like, no more cutting, you know, short corners and stuff. And so I went to Chateau d'Eau, which is, that's the way you're gonna get your black hair supplies with you in Paris, okay? So I went there and I just went to one of them shops and I just got a blue bleach. So the blue bleach was just in like a packet. It was just in a plastic packet. I didn't have a name on it, didn't have nothing on it. I don't know. I just got the blue bleach, and I got a 30 volume developer of some brand that they had in the store, and I bought that, came home, and then I bleached the hair. So I did the undercut that I had reattached. I split my hair in half. I did this part and I did the other part, and I did it twice, and the color came out really good. And I also then toned it with the Wella T18, and I think that was the first like color that I had done that everything came out so even, so well, and the color was perfect. It was exactly an ash blonde, like a good vibrant ash blonde on locks, and I really liked it. And so I was like very impressed with myself, you know. I mean, it was a very long process because I was doing like in sections, and you know, rinsing and like coming back and like waiting all the times, but I think it was worth it because, I mean, as you can still see, you can see from the videos, and you can still see now, like the color is still very nice, you know, and it still looks really, really good. And so I did that in the beginning of December. Then I was in China for like a whole month. And then when I came back, so now my hair obviously had grown, right? But when it grew out, you know, I didn't get that very obvious orange banding. I'm just going to continue to maintain my roots by bleaching it with blue bleach and either 20 or 30 volume developer, and toning it with the Wella T18. That process works really well for me now. And as you can see, so I did the hair in beginning of February, and you can still see like there's just a very slight orange like band, but it's not so drastic like it used to be before, where it was like a very obvious orange. And so I like this transition of the new growth better than the box dye transition of the new growth. And so yeah, that's my color story. That's how I ended up like this. Advice to people who want to get blonde hair. I do think it's easier to achieve a color like this when you're starting from like one hair color and then going to blonde. So let's say you have like black hair and you want to do this. Just take your time, okay? Split your hair into sections and just spend the hours of doing each section, rinsing it out, coming back and doing it again. It's just so much better because you're gonna get a much even distribution of the bleach, and you're gonna get a much even bleach job, so that when you tone it, everything just comes out looking really good. But most people, like, you know, no one really just wakes up one day and they're like, I want to go blonde from having black hair, right? You either want to, you have black hair and you're like, oh, I want to try a little bit of the tips, you know, to be like light brown. And then, you know, you're like, okay, maybe I want to try a little bit of a red tint to my hair. And then you're like, oh, maybe I want to do this. And then you end up here, which is kind of what happened to me, right? Like, I didn't wake up one day and I was like, I just want to go, you know, from black to blonde. I went gradually, just because I wasn't sure how it was gonna look on me. And if you would have told me back in 2015 that I was gonna be rocking this hair, I would have laughed you out of this world, right? Because to me, like, you know, it's such a big contrast. But then when you see it in camera, it's really not that big of a contrast. It actually like complements my skin pretty well. So I mean, that's what it is. It's just trial and error. Like, you don't really know how it's gonna come out. That's my color story, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. And leave me comments below of like what videos you guys want to see. Some that I'm planning on doing so far is I'm going to do the apple cider vinegar rinse with the baking soda. I want to do that, and I'm going to do a protein treatment, and I want to film that for you guys. And those are the two, I think. And I also wanted to do Bantu knot outs on locks, because I've never tried that on my locks. I tried it on loose natural hair once, and that thing was a hot mess. So I don't want to waste all that time doing it on this hair and then it just flops, you know what I'm saying? So I want to do the apple cider vinegar rinse, I want to do the Bantu knot out, and I want to do the protein treatment on locks. So those are the three I have kind of in mind, and if you have any others, just comment them down below and I will be sure to film them for you guys in the next video, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.